Well, you see, this is a might be a very long answer, but when it comes to the real estate market, and I always tell prospective buyers that it's not as over looked as in the States. You know, we don't, first of all, let's just start off with, we do not have an active MLS system in Belize at all. I mean, you might find websites that are labeled like that, but they're not, you know, an active MLS system.
Sure,
like
sharing listings and what have you, yeah.
So that gives it an added layer of complexity to actually when the question comes to how is the market doing? And I always tell buyers one thing. To start off with, I have definitely been in the market related to the real estate in some shape or form since about 4 or 5 years now. Actively as an agent, only 2. But I can tell you that the amount of agents that have back then when I started as an assistant to now have probably more than double.
Really?
So,
okay.
In the island, for example,
Yes.
and I'm pretty sure in Belize was what we've seen. So that definitely shows a level of increased activity, I would say, in the market. When it comes to San Pedro, I always tell buyers that there are different markets in San Pedro. You're looking at the condo resale market or the condo developer, new condo market. 2 different beasts.
Sure.
You look at the home resale market in itself, or when it comes to the land market, you can look at the resale land market or the developer land market, whereas, you know, developers that are...
Yeah, sounds pretty sophisticated.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
A lot going on, a lot different prices that I tell people all the time. And actually, one of the things that I do, a little plug-in for myself, is on my YouTube, I do my best to track both the condo and the home markets and do monthly reports on it, because there's no one place where you can go and have all the new listings.
I've seen your stuff. I've seen your research. I think it's fantastic first and foremost, and I do appreciate and understand what you're talking about as far as that information is not really out there. It's hard to, nobody before you has really gathered that information and put it together for dissemination to the public. So I think you're doing a good service to prospective buyers there, Joe.
I'll give you a little bit of an insight. I started tracking the condo market since the beginning of 2021.
Okay.
I've always had a thing that I've loved condos, so I've started tracking since 2021. Homes, I started tracking since 2020, last year, 2023. So I haven't been as, you know, as you can imagine, the time that it takes every month to do that is a lot. Give you a bit overview of my latest reports. In 2022, we had a total number of 90 resale condo listings coming to the market.
Okay.
As of April of 2024, ending of April, first quarter of 2024, 60% of those condos have already been marked in those websites as sold.
Okay.
Out of those 60%, and to give buyers a little bit of a perspective, is we don't have a 90-day market like many other markets in the States. Our market here, whenever I list a property, I list at minimum of 1 year.
Okay.
And if a property is in the market for 9 months or to a year, I don't necessarily consider it a bad thing.
Sure.
So the fact that in less than a year of overturn, there's been up to 60% of the market has sold when it comes to that, sounds pretty good, pretty solid.
Absolutely.
And bear in mind, this is only from websites who have actually marked the properties as sold. Because again, there's a thing where
information sharing is not necessarily free.
Yeah,
I got you.
So it possibly be that more than 60% of those condos have been sold.
I understand.
Now, when it comes to homes, there's been about 75 homes completely listed in 2023. Out of those, only 40% have sold, which is significantly less than condos. And apart from that, something very important to note, 24 of those homes, 75, were reduced in the past year, which makes it about 32% of the market. So I always tell buyers, and this again goes back to the difference in markets. There's the condo resale market is completely different than the home resale market, completely different than the condo developer market. So it gives a little bit.
Well, isn't that why it's important to have the right buyer's agent to help guide you through those waters? something along those lines also as part of that real estate market. Certainly, we're talking about San Pedro here. I've noticed we have high season, low season. Typically, when it's cold up north, it's our high season. Now we're getting into the summer, it's the warmer months. It's a bit of a low season. Does that affect the market, buyers, potential buyers' activity?
I'll be honest with you, it would be very hard for me to say it does because I think in an extent it does because there's a lot less people coming in, and a lot of people sometimes come as a first timers and then they decide to pull the trigger on something.
Okay.
And then also a lot of people choose to make their vacation also a business trip.
Okay.
So I would say it does. Being in the slow season, there's a lot less people coming, but I wouldn't say that it affects it in such a large way because folks who have been looking into the market, a lot of them have been looking for maybe more than 1 year.
Okay.
So if they're planning to come, if they're ready to make the move now, they're not waiting.
Doesn't really matter if it's winter or summer.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Or for folks who are a lot more familiar, if they spot a deal on beginning of July, they'll
matter
make it happen.
Individual stuff.